don't think this is a good idea, Justin.
Ah! You know, I don't think this is a good idea either, Yumi. It's a great idea.
No, it's not, Justin. You've never been to Terminal. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I've never been there before. And this is my vacation. This is my Nintendo vacation. And what do you do on a vacation? You dance a little, you have a few drinks, and you go someplace you've never been before. I have never been to Termina. I've never played Majora's Mask, so I have to go.
But Justin...
Oh, shh. I'm just going to be gone 3 days. They're just having a harmless end-of-the-year festival where I promise you nothing of any kind can possibly go wrong. Welcome. Sit down. Justin M. Bailey here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Justin M. Bailey. I'm a writer. I like to play games. I like to make videos about games, and I've been taking myself a nice little Nintendo vacation. I danced with Donkey Kong. I might have had a few drinks with Super Mario, but there was one more stop I had to take to make this little trip complete. There was one more thing I had to do. I had to make a Legend of Zelda video, and it had to be about a game I have never played before. Now, I have never played Majora's Mask, so that's the one I chose. And in hindsight, I can't see why, because I've played just about every other major Zelda. But now, after completing Majora's Mask, it is now my favorite Zelda of all time. Majora's Mask is the greatest Zelda since the original in 1986. I kid you not, even better than Ocarina of Time. Yes, I said it. No! But seriously, about Ocarina of Time, make no mistake, fellow Zelda fans, though Ocarina of Time will always be remembered as the most revolutionary Zelda game in the entire franchise. It will forever remain the watermark of the entire series, but it still suffers from the same major problems, the same quintessential deficiencies that have been plaguing the Zelda series for over 20 years now. Two major flaws that are flaws in every major 3D Zelda since, except for Majora's Mask. They somehow actually fixed it in Majora's Mask, but in the strangest twist of fate, a twist of fate stranger than the happy mask salesman himself, Nintendo actually forgot all those good things they did in that game. It was like somebody set the clock back to day one on them, back to the first day, leaving their Zeldas to continue to suffer and diminish. Do you know what Majora's Mask did that was so revolutionary for the franchise, and yet strangely enough has never been done again since? Ingenuity and storytelling! And I know, that sounds simple. It sounds like a no-brainer. It sounds obvious. But if it's so obvious, how come no Zelda game has done it since? They haven't! I'm sorry. But if we can just forget a sec about talking cartoon boats and wolf curses and fancy schmancy Wiimote controls. Every Zelda plays exactly like every other Zelda ever made. Period. Do you want to hear the Zelda song? Do you? This is the Zelda song. This is every single Zelda. Ready? Raid the temples and raid some dungeons, find some stuff and find some MacGuffins, stop again and again, and then go have a smoke, go get a snack, because you're just going to repeat the same thing all over again. And yeah, I know, that said, a counter-argument can easily be made that every Mario plays like a Mario, and every Mega Man game plays just like a Mega Man, but they're not calling themselves legends, are they? No, they're not calling themselves the Legend of Super Mario and the Legend of Mega Man because they're not trying to be legends. They're just trying to be games. And that said, I'm gonna take a breath. Okay, keep in mind, to Legend of Zelda's credit, since its inception, it has done a very good job of living up to this self-appointed title of legend, and will forever be remembered as one of the greatest gaming series of all time. But when for 20 years you keep giving us the exact same legend over and over again, I'm truly sorry, but your legendary status starts to come into question. Trust me when I say this, friends. Saying none of this makes me happy. Okay, a little, but for the most part, no, it does not make me happy. I'm a Zelda fan too, but the Legend of Zelda is starting to dwindle. And if it's not from a lack of ingenuity that's killing it, it is certainly from a dire lack of storytelling. Fuck! Let's take a look at the word legend, shall we? Does everyone out there know what the word legend means? It literally means a story. A story of epic people and epic quests and deeds and adventures that are so epic, in fact, so enthralling, that generation upon generation actually memorizes it and passes it down in an oral tradition. That's a legend! And since we are talking about video games, video game legends, and storytelling, let me take a moment quickly to point out, as I've already mentioned on my Sonic the Hedgehog video, for a game to be a great story, all you really need is great gameplay and music to tell your tale. And this is true, as it's true that on that video I said Zelda is the greatest gaming opera of all time. But I'm sorry, Nintendo, when your title of your game series literally means the story of Zelda, you need to keep giving us story. You need to keep building on your story, on your legend, instead of just telling us the same legend over and over again. Now, Majora's Mask fixes both of these problems of storytelling and ingenuity. Ironically, without even realizing it, not only does Majora's Mask have an entire game of fantastic, one-of-a-kind game mechanics, I love me my Goron Mask! Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! Under the sea, under the sea. Houston, we are clear for launch. I am a Deku Scrub, and we are clear for launch. Over. But Majora's Mask also has some serious story in every sense of the word going on. The most story a Zelda has ever had. Majora's Mask has some serious themes, and even the character of Link in this game has a theme and a story arc. Yes, the most famously emotionless, transparent video game adventurer actually has a story arc for once. He has a very personal story. Do you know what Link's personal story is in Majora's Mask? Majora's Mask is entirely about Link healing and recovering from the events after Ocarina of Time, and not just him either, but Nintendo too. Let's look back at '97. Nintendo had just made the most successful, the most groundbreaking, most well-received, most critically acclaimed Zelda game of all time, and now what? Now what did they do? Where does Nintendo go from here? Where can they possibly take the Zelda franchise next? It is virtually impossible to try. It would be nothing short of a fool's errand to try and top the masterpiece that is Ocarina of Time. They did, by the way, they just didn't realize it. They topped Ocarina of Time by not trying at all. How? How did they do it? Because through this game, they went through a period of healing and self-evaluation, and so did Link. Okay, so after the events of Ocarina of Time, let's imagine ourselves to be Link. Because, after all, that's why Nintendo always insists on giving him no discernible characteristics whatsoever. It is why they insist on making him a blank slate, so that we, the player, can imagine ourselves to be going on all these magical quests rather than him. So, put on your imaginary cap with me, and together, let's go over everything you went through to survive the Ocarina of Time, Link. Ahem. You just saved the kingdom, Link, and became the legendary hero of all time. Congratulations. And to do this, all you had to do was survive battle after countless battle, fighting to the death against the most deadliest creatures in the kingdom to ever breathe air inside the most unimaginably dangerous, inhospitable places on the planet. But not only that, Link, and I bet you're still having trouble wrapping your brain around this one, but you actually traveled through time and got turned into an adult. On multiple occasions! Seriously! Let me say that again. You traveled through time and got turned into an adult on multiple occasions, and you actually did it, of all things, to stop a power-mad, magical dictator worse than all of your previous monster encounters combined. You almost died! You almost died, Link, more times than you have hairs on your head. But hey, you saved the kingdom, right? Ha, ha, ha. You finish your entire quest by the skin of your teeth, and your reward is to get turned back into a kid and booted back into the past where no one will ever know what you accomplished in the future because the history of your timeline is rewritten? Am I the only person this all sounds cruel to? They actually turned Link back into a kid? Does anyone out there listening think after everything Link has done to survive the quest of Ocarina of Time, he will ever be a kid again? By sending him back to the past, all you're doing is ensuring that there's no one he can ever talk to about it again, because who would ever believe him? What's that you say, kid? You traveled to the future and saved Hyrule? Haha, cute. Go bother someone else. Go sell your Girl Scout cookies elsewhere. Bullshit! A very cruel joke has been played on our favorite hero, and if this makes you mad at all, imagine how much it upsets young Link. I'll bet you 1,000,000 rupees, I'll bet you more than anything, he now wakes up to nightmares every single night, and he has no one to cry to about it. Zelda? That bitch is always busy. The only other creature that understands Link at all now, and this is exactly why Majora's Mask begins on a quest to find her, is Navi. Seriously, just why the fuck do you think Majora's Mask begins with Link searching the woods for Navi? Navi is the most annoying video game character ever next to Baby Mario, but save for some snotty princess, she is the only one that can possibly help Link now with what he's going through. Link starts off Majora's Mask in an unspeakable amount of pain. How could he not be? And Navi is one of Link's only remaining friends, along with Zelda and, of course, his trusty, lovable steed, Epona. Oh my god! No! Oh! God! Oh! Oh my god! No! No! You have met with a terrible fate indeed. Well, talk about the cherry on the shit sundae after everything Link has been through. After already how fragile we find him at the beginning of Majora's Mask, what Skull Kid did to Link is unforgivable. It's almost as bad as killing a flower girl in front of your face. If a Link was ever going to lose it, if a Link in a Zelda game was ever going to have a complete mental breakdown and go John Rambo on an entire village, it's now, except he can't, because he's a Deku Scrub. Let me say that again. Because he's a Deku Scrub, and because another kingdom is in danger now. As sad as it is, though he is still suffering from Fantasy Quest-induced PTSD, it's time for Link to go back to war. For Link to do the only thing he knows how to do anymore. Complete the quest and save the fucking day. However, I am happy to report this quest is not like any quest he or any Link has ever gone on before, because this quest is not just about saving the fucking day anymore. Link's encounter with Skull Kid was not coincidence or just a spot of bad luck. No! Like an Ocarina of Time, once again, fate and the very goddesses of Hyrule are stepping into Link's life. Not just to help him save another kingdom, but for once, to help Link save himself. To help Link heal. Now, as I've already said, the theme of Majora's Mask is healing. It's in no way about Link dying and going through the land of Purgatory and learning to accept his accidental, stupid, clumsy death. Termina's a real place. He did not fall off a cliff to an untimely death. He fell into another dimension. And seriously, in the world of Legend of Zelda, is another dimension really so hard to believe when considering Link actually has a musical instrument that lets him time travel? Because I don't. But further, if this game is in fact about Purgatory and the Kubler-Ross model of grief, what the hell does masks have to do with any of this? The gameplay of Majora's Mask revolve entirely around masks, so tell me, please, what does any of this have to do with the acceptance of one's own death? Okay, well let me answer it for you. The answer is nothing. Masks have nothing to do with the Kubler-Ross process of accepting one's own death, but they do have a whole lot to do with learning empathy and with learning to see and feel things from other creatures' perspectives, something Link sorely needs at the start of Majora's Mask. No one may ever know what it's like to be a time-traveling kingdom saver like Link does, but you bet your fern, before this particular quest, Link didn't know what it was like to be a Deku Scrub, a Goron, or a Zora, that's for damn sure. Through all these masks and through the land of Termina itself, Link is learning to see past his own pain. He is learning to see past his own differences because we're all different. You don't have to be a time traveler to still be different. And though sometimes we have things happen to us that are so differentiatingly bizarre and terrible, and it can make us feel that we will never fit in or be part of society again, through empathy, through wearing the mask of other people and seeing things through other people's eyes, by learning to focus on what makes us all the same rather than solely on what makes us different, healing will occur. When Link returns to Hyrule, he will reintegrate with friends and families and neighbors, and he will become whole again. That's a powerful lesson to get out of a game right there. And were that not enough, this game goes one step further and actually teaches you how much you need friends and family, because this quest isn't like all the other Zelda quests you have been on. No! You can't get through this one by simply raiding a bunch of dungeons and fighting a bunch of monsters and collecting a bunch of treasures all by your lonesome self. The only way you get through Majora's Mask is by helping people. And not just by helping with everyone's major problem, stopping the moon from falling, but with their individual, personal problems, such as lost love, curses, and even cow-stealing aliens. And let me ask you something, you as the player. What feels the most gratifying to you when you play this game? Saving the world or helping your newly made friends? Yeah, the friends? Me too! Powerful shit right there, I know, but do you know what I find most powerful of all? Think about this for a sec. Do you know what would happen to Link if he never fell into the world of Termina? Do you know what his fate would be? He'd end up like this guy. One serious troublemaker, and let's face it, in the land of Hyrule, this particular kid, Link, could start some serious shit if he wanted to. The tools do not make the man make the tools, and with a couple of simple tools, Link could bring all of Hyrule to its knees if he wanted to. In the beginning of Majora's Mask, Link was on his way to becoming a serious loose cannon. There is only so much pain, so much self-ostracization even the purest of hearts can take. Yes, Link was actually on his way to becoming just like Skull Kid. And from the perspective, as you can imagine, of the goddesses of Hyrule, number one, after going through all the trouble of getting Link to stop Ganon and save their kingdom, do you really think the goddesses of Hyrule are gonna just let him run around and wait for him to go off like a ticking time bomb? And number two, most importantly, because they know Link is the way he is because of everything they put him through when he was nothing but a small boy to complete the Ocarina of Time quest. And I know all you Purgatory fellas out there can make an argument right here and say, oh, Justin, and that's where they took him out. Yeah, they took him out gangster style and pushed him off that cliff, and he's in Purgatory. And shut up, please shut up. None of this Purgatory and or bumping off Link crap after the events of Ocarina of Time has anything to do with these sacred games. This is Legend of Zelda, after all. These games are about light and hope. It's not House of Cards. Link is healed after Majora's Mask, and it's worth noting he has not just gone on an adventure in the land of Termina. He has gone on the greatest adventure of all, the adventure of his very soul. And what is more special about this is we, the player, got to go with him, and maybe, just maybe, by playing this game, we got to go on a little personal adventure of our own. Yes, we all die someday. Our bodies will die, and that is something we all need to accept. But this game is not about the inevitability of our physical demise. It is about the nature of our very souls, and how by working together and caring and empathizing for each other, each of our own very unique souls, the moon will not fall. No, the curtain will never fall on us because souls live forever, as will the legend of Majora's Mask. I'm Justin M. Bailey. Thank you so much for listening.